Welcome, everybody, back to the Build and Invest show. Today, I'm going to be talking about creating your first employee, right? AI employee. Because as I play around with all this stuff more and more, I realize if I was just starting out or even where I am now, and I just started understanding that this was possible, I would really wish I would have started earlier. And I started pretty early, and I still wish I would have started earlier to understand all of this. Starts out with everybody's talking about it. If you haven't seen it, the CEO of Block, Jack Dorsey, former owner of Twitter, just laid off almost half his company. And he said he made like a little bit of inference that it has to do with how fast intelligence is growing in this technology. So everybody took that to mean AI. Of course, there's people that think, he just overhired or whatever it is. But if you play around with this for any amount of time, you will see what people who have companies are going to have to decide. You're going to be able to see that for less money, you can possibly do way more by hiring an AI employee versus a human employee. And I'm going to just give you a few of the ones that I've done. And I'll talk you through why I did them and the difference in cost. And at the end of the day, I truly believe even eventually CEOs and owners of companies will be a hindrance to their own companies. They're going to even have AI CEOs because, again, how do you compete with something that's smarter than you, can work more often than you, 24/7, doesn't get sick, doesn't need a vacation, doesn't have any other responsibility, and is pennies on the dollar compared to your cost? It's going to eventually become fiduciary fiduciary duty to have a CEO that's an AI. I think, like, if when you sign investment documents, you say your fiduciary duty is to make sure that this business makes the most money possible for your investors. If an AI running the company makes the investors more money, that's going to be what ends up happening. Yes, it's not there right this second. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that right now it's just starting. So I'm in the Bitcoin and Ethereum space, and everybody's like, man, I just wish I would have paid more attention back when it was $1,000, $500. I tell the story all the time. I knew about Bitcoin when it was 30 cents. Didn't pay attention. I used to pay someone in Ethereum, and Ethereum was like $80, and I didn't think to buy it and own it for myself. And now it's $2,000. Again, all of us have this problem, right? We're busy with our day. We're busy with our lives. Things come across our, peripheral through our day, and we decide what makes the most sense to pay attention to. I'm telling you right now, I don't care what you are, business, employee, student, elderly, teacher, accountant, I don't care what you are, lawyer, you need to pay attention to this and try it because it's not a game. It really does work. And I'm going to show you, actually, this is a good way of understanding what every CEO is going to have to do.
90% of our coders are using AI. 90% of our coders are using AI. Now, that's easy to say, but there are probably 30% of them that are power users. They are showing a clear differentiation in the number of diffs, for example, how much a diff is a code release that's different from the last code release. So one of the measurements of productivity is just how many diffs are you putting to the code base. Uber's just a giant code base. That's what we are. And so our engineers are literally the builders of the company. They are manufacturing the bricks that go into the system. And they're architects who are kind of thinking about what the system should look like. And so while 90% of our engineers are using AI tools of some sort, there's about 30% of them that are using them at a completely accelerated pace. And it really is changing their productivity in a way that I've never ever seen before. Ultimately, I do think that the job of a coder is going to change more and more from actually writing the code from to some extent orchestrating agents who are writing the code.
See what he's saying right now, right? He's already calling out the 30% that are above and beyond everybody else. There's the Pareto law. I think it's 80-20. I think it's Pareto. 80-20, right? 80% of the production comes from 20% of the people. He's seeing 30%. What this means is eventually those 70% are probably gone if they don't learn how to do what those other 30% know how to do.
Code or building systems for you. It becomes more of an orchestration job versus a manual writing job. But the job will still be there. And my attitude is if my average engineer became 25% more efficient, which we haven't gone there yet, but we will get there, I'm going to hire more engineers because I want to go faster. There's still lots of unsolved problems that we haven't solved. But I can imagine, maybe 5 years from now, as the engineers get more and more productive, I may not decide to add engineering headcount because at that point, instead of adding an engineer, I should add agents and buy some more GPUs from NVIDIA. That may be the investment in the future. We'll see.
So this is what I'm talking about. I think everything gets here. Of course, with development, it's easier to see it and have it be something that is clear cut because it's something that can be done, that has a final computer process that can be tracked, and an AI can see the start and the end of it. But I think everything gets here, everything. So if you're not trying to understand how AI agents work now and use them yourself, because this is what he said, there's 30% that are using AI agents better than 70%, and they are way more productive. And that's what we're talking about here. Either you are an employee that's way more productive, a student that's way more productive, a business owner that's way more productive. But if you're not playing around with this stuff, you are screwed. That's what you are, because the truth is, how do you compete with a company that is, right? If I'm the same exact business as you and I'm deploying agents at a lower cost doing more, how do you compete with me? Like today, while I literally taking my sons to the dentist, I have 3 agents working, one redoing our website to be able to speak to agents, because Stackit.ai is going to most likely, its biggest customer will be agents. So I'm redoing the entire website to speak to not only humans, but also to AI agents. And that's a whole process. So I have an AI agent helping me do that. I have an AI agent working on an open source product that I'm part of a hackathon. And the reason I joined this hackathon is to draw more traffic to my Stack business. So I have another agent doing that. I have another agent working on a book project that allows me to write a book, and friends of mine that want to write a book. If you're interested in writing a book, reach out. I have an agent that's helping me and a few people write a book. I have an agent that creates content for me all day. These are like would be employees that I would need to be asking on a Saturday, hey, can you help me work on this stuff? Versus I just need to ask the AI agent, hey, what's going on with the book? Did you do what you needed to? Oh, yes. Okay, can you add this? Yep. For the hackathon. Okay, the hackathon's due next week. Let's assess where we are and start making the final deployments. Okay, shows it to me. It takes screenshots of what it's working on, sends it to my message, to my Telegram, shows me what it's working on, writes to GitHub. It's so crazy. Like does comments. As a developer, I've been a developer. I hated making comments. Almost every developer does. It does comments. It does everything you want it to do that humans do not like doing. And it does it 24/7. So when you think about what this means, I can't. I'm afraid. I keep saying that I'm afraid, and that's why I'm going so hard at understanding this stuff and using it, because I really worry about what this means for the working world and technology in general. So I'm getting into it because I'm worried about my own business, my own ability to pay my bills, right? Because it doesn't matter how much assets you have. If this transition takes 10, 15 years for them to figure out really how they're going to give money to people who can't earn a living. I don't care. If you have 15 years of investments, I don't know many people that do, that can afford to not make money for 15 years. Yes, it could take 5 years, it could take 10 years, but I've studied this, and in history, it takes a long time. These processes don't happen overnight. Like, if you think about the farmers, it didn't go from most people were farmers to almost nobody are farmers overnight. It took a long time. And throughout that time, there were other jobs that were created, yes. But this is different because now there's something that's smarter, cheaper than every human being. Yes, there might be a few human beings that are not as smart, but even Elon Musk and people like that work on AI already say, this is smarter than me. The smartest people in the world are already saying, this is smarter than me. So if we're talking about the top level, and maybe you don't think Elon Musk is one of the smartest people, but whoever you think is one of the smartest people, they've come out and said it. This stuff is smarter than me already. It knows more generally about everything than I do already. So we're already there. The AI is smarter than you. It's cheaper than you. I just told you everything I'm doing. Here's what I pay to make all those agents work. I have a $200 ChatGPT plan, and I had the $200 Claude plan, but I kept realizing I wasn't getting close to the max on that, so I just loaded to a $100 plan. So I'm paying $300 a month to have 24/7 multiple employees. And then, yes, I bought that's the normal one. Like, anybody could do that. You could just download it to your computer. There's Claude Code. There's Codex. You can do it straight in your terminal. I did buy a Mac Mini to learn how to do OpenClaw. And OpenClaw, okay, there's an extra cost of the device. You don't need a new Mac Mini. You don't need a new Mac. You just need a Mac that most likely you don't use because there is some security possible issues that you don't want to put it on your main computer. But I know people doing that already. Because what is OpenClaw doing? All OpenClaw is doing is it has what's called a cron job. So a cron job is you set the computer to do something every X amount of time. So you say at every hour on the hour, do something. So what OpenClaw does is it does many different things on the cron jobs. So, but it can use your computer. So you can say at 1 o'clock, go into my email, check all my emails. If I have an important email, let me know. Right? That's what an assistant used to do. Right? And you could say every hour on the hour, write me a piece of content that I can tweet. That's what a content person used to do. Right now, what I'm doing is I say every day at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., my CMO generates an idea, sends it to my content creator, who writes the script. These are all AIs. Writes the scripts, makes the storyboard, exports the video, publishes it to our queue in social media. 3 times a day, happens automatically. Then I say, okay, show me the video after you schedule it so I can tell you if I still want it scheduled or not. If I watch the video and I say, it's good, I say, okay, that's good, leave it. Again, these all used to be employees. That one used to be multiple employees because you're talking about a CMO that kind of comes up with the overall strategy, a copywriter that comes up with the hook and the script, a designer that comes up with the storyboards, an animator that puts it all together and exports it, and a social media manager that manages your social media. All that done by AIs. So when you start to like chop it away and go job by job by job, I just don't know how everything doesn't get touched by this, including physical things. And even now I'm starting to try to diversify my businesses, right? Like I'm actually looking at electrician companies, and I'm trying to figure out how to own one. Why? That's one of the hardest things AI is going to be able to do. It will be able to do it eventually, but it's going to take a while because you got to have robots. There's laws that make it that if you want to be an electrician, you have to train under a master electrician for 5 years or something like that. So you can't just quickly get competition tomorrow. So if I go through that process and in 5 years everybody realizes, oh my God, electricians companies are what we need to be, they still got to wait 5 years unless the government changes the laws. And I don't know if they will allow robots to do some of that stuff. We will see. That's again laws, right? So things with laws are probably going to take some time before the AI can do them. But I just watched an interview where Elon was saying in the next 5 years, most likely 3 years, there will be more surgeon AI robots than humans, and way better, because every time a surgeon AI robot does something, it teaches all the AI agents, the AI robots, the skill. So if they learn something new or they find a new technique, everybody knows it. Versus a human, they will have to go to schooling and, update their skills to find this new theory or whatever it is. So this is just, I feel like I'm being a doomer, but I am just trying to be a realist about where we are. And what I want to do is I want to start preparing people. So what I'm starting to do is I'm starting to show people how to create their own AI employees, starting out. Right now, I'm going to tell you some ideas, and I'm going to tell you how I came up with mine. I'll tell you where you can go to start the process. And of course, I have a free community that we meet every week, 7 p.m. On Zoom. And we talk about what AI employees we're making. And I do have a course as well that I'm selling to help people make their first AI employee. And I've made a bunch of AI employees. I have a treasury AI, Stackit.ai. I have a content AI. I have a CMO AI. I have an AI that helps me meet people that I should be connecting with. I have a book agent that's helping me write books. And these are just based on what people come to me and ask me about. And I'm like, I could make that. And I'll be honest, none of them were too difficult to make. All it took was me speaking to an AI until it was done. Yes, I do benefit from having previous technology experience. So I am able to guide it better, ask better questions. But that's going to get easier and easier over time too. Right now, you can ask it, and I'll give you the full breakdown. So the first AI agent I made was Stackit.ai. Why did I make that one? When I first started understanding about all of this, I said, I need an AI that's going to help me make money, right? So that was the first thought in my head. Can I make an AI agent that makes me money? So then I went across the whole tangent. I said, okay, how do things make money? They could do jobs. Yeah, all right, it wasn't there yet. It wasn't able to go off and do jobs. But there are people right now going on places like Upwork and getting hired to do jobs and then having the AI agent do the job. So imagine going on Upwork and seeing a job for $500. Then you just give it to your AI agent. It does it in 20 minutes. You make $500. The AI agent did the work. So there's people doing that already, and I need to look into that because that sounds awesome. Because I used to hire people on Upwork all the time. So I started out by saying, okay, I want an AI agent that makes me money. So I said, what's the way the richest people make money? So of course it was business. So I said, okay, it's not ready to make businesses yet. But what I did learn was investment. So I said, okay, what the rich people do, what the wealthiest people in the world do is they buy assets, then they borrow off those assets to live. So I said, what if I can build that? So I started to build it, and I realized, of course, because the only thing an agent can buy right now is crypto. Crypto's very volatile. There's a problem with being liquidated. So what I did was I created an AI agent to make sure the wallet doesn't get liquidated. It watches 24/7. It has specific rules on what to do when it sees specific things, and it does them. And this has been around for 3 years. We're going in our 4th year right now. Actually, we're in our 4th year of existence now. And if you want to learn how to borrow off your Bitcoin Ethereum without being liquidated, the link is in the description. I built that, and we've had millions of dollars go through that product, and it's protecting people all day, every day. Now we're going to have AI agents use that product, right? So that was the first one I made. The second one I made it was around Christmas, actually, and I've spoken about this if you listened. I realized everybody always told me, you made this for people who need it, which are not rich people. And I would always tell them, the problem is they don't have the financial literacy to understand all these concepts. They need to understand what Bitcoin is. They need to understand what Ethereum is. They need to understand why you would borrow off of your assets. They need to understand what liquidation is. They need to understand how to operate in the crypto space. So I'm like, it's just so much education that I don't have time to do. I have to try to get people who already understand all of this. So my goal was to start creating videos that would educate people in short form videos, because right now that's what most people do. They just scroll TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So I said, what if I make videos, short videos that will educate people? So the first idea came, okay, let me hire a human to do it. So I went through the process of how we make videos, and I gave it to my brother. Actually, my brother's a video editor and a designer, and he's learning how to use AI really well. So I said, okay, how long would this take? I did it myself just to see, and it took me about an hour to make one video from scratch, idea to finish, post it on social media, about an hour. So I said, okay, all right, I want to pay my brother fairly, $30 an hour, for something that takes an hour, pay him $30 a video. So I asked AI, can you do it? And this was Christmas Eve. I said, okay, I'm going to ask the AI if it can do it. And it was not because I was trying to take the job away from my brother or money away from my brother. It was because I thought, if somebody else figures this out, they're going to do it anyway, right? So I might as well be the one to figure it out. So I gave the task to ChatGPT and Claude. And they both came back with ideas on how to do it. So I started being on Twitter, and I started to see that people were saying the AI is getting much better. It's getting really, really good. So it was the Christmas break. It was Christmas Eve. And I kept seeing those posts like, oh my God, have you tried Claude Code recently? It's ridiculous. So I said, all right, I'm going to try it. So I put the idea that, because what you do, this is the process. You give your idea to ChatGPT or Claude, and you tell it, write me a product requirement document, a PRD. So I did that. Put it in there. I gave it to Claude Code. Claude Code has this planning mode where it's really cool. It'll ask you questions that you probably never thought about because you're not a tech person, but if you have a good PRD, it doesn't need to ask you as many questions, but it still asks you some. So it asked me, and by that night, it was already kind of working. But remember, it was Christmas Eve. So the next day, it was Christmas. But again, while I'm doing everything, I'm just looking at the questions and I'm answering. And I'm saying, yes, do that. Don't do that. Change that. Do this. By the time Christmas Day was over, it was working. It was scheduling videos. And that's where I was like, oh my God, this is game changing, because on a busy day, of course, not all day busy because my kids are older. We do stuff in the morning. They play with their stuff all day. I was able to, in really about 24 real hours, build an employee that basically creates content on the fly for about 30 cents a video. So now if you look at the difference, if you're going to pay a person a decent wage for an hour, $30. Yes, you can say, oh yeah, but you could have paid somebody in another country less than $30. Sure, let's say $10 an hour, $7 an hour, I'll even take that. That's not competing with 30 cents and 5-10 minutes, right? So again, it takes a human 1 full hour. It costs, let's say, $10 to $30. And it's going to take you a full hour before they're done. Then you're going to see it. You're going to make edits. Might take 2 hours before that thing can be live. And let's say $10 to $30. 10, 20 minutes, 30 cents. Live on social media. This is why there's no way to compete with that, right? Like, faster, cheaper. I won't say better yet. It's not better yet. A human would have done it better. Sure. But it's not that different. It's not 100 times worse, right? So you do that math. You say, is this 100 times better than what I pay for right now? Or 100 times worse? If it's not, every business owner is going to think, I need to do the cheapest thing because I need to make sure I have money to run my business. Yes, then it's going to get to this point where profit is going to, maybe people get greedy and it's like, okay, I'm making a lot of profit, but I still don't want to hire a human because they're just a pain to deal with versus this AI that's so easy to deal with. I just ask it to do something. It does it instantly, 24/7. It's cheaper, faster. This is inevitable, and I think this is your shot to like get in there and play with it. So you go in, you ask it, you talk your idea out, you ask it for a product requirement document, a PRD, get that PRD, give it to one of the platforms, Codex, Claude Code in your terminal. It will eventually get to a product that exists, an employee 24/7. If you want to do OpenClaw and set a cron job and say, okay, every hour I want you to do something, you can do that. There's even a way, to be honest, in on your computer without OpenClaw to do it too. You can just set a cron job on your computer. There's people who are doing almost everything OpenClaw does through Claude Code and Codex on their computer. It's just harder to set up. You can do it though, it's just harder to set up. The guy who made OpenClaw, there was a reason he made it. He was trying to do what I just said, and it wasn't easy. He wanted to be able to talk to it on your cell phone. There was a lot of things that didn't exist when he started that do exist now. That's another thing. Things are moving so fast that even the stuff he's built, they're starting to include it in Claude Code, and Codex has an app too. So it's just, the space is moving so fast, and that's where I feel like the distance is going to start like really getting bigger between entrepreneurs that know how to do this, employees that know how to do this, students that know how to do this, and people who don't. And there's going to be almost no way to catch up, because if going on month 3, because I told you I started it end of December, let's say January, February. So 2 months, going into my 3rd month of playing with this almost all day, every day. If you're starting right now and we continue on the same amount of hours spent, there's no way you will ever catch up with me, because I'm so far ahead. I already know how to use so much of this all day, every day. You're going to be learning for the first month, just like I was. So for your first month, I'm getting more and more distance from your skill set. And this is why, like right now, you're only 2-3 months, because I started a little bit late. They're saying the real jump happened in November. That's when the AI got to a level that was just really, really good. I caught it at the end of December, so even I'm a month behind. But you're not years behind. You're not 10 years behind. Like, I know a lot of people that are like, I miss Bitcoin. I'm not going to buy it now. 15 years ago, it would have made sense to buy it, but now it doesn't, because it's $100,000 or $60,000. That's wrong, because Bitcoin is going to be much more than $60,000 one day, but people feel like that. This technology, I don't think you get to feel like that. I think if you feel like that and you don't start playing with it, you're digging your own grave, because every month you don't play around with this stuff, you're losing months. So check this out. When I built the first agent, I saw it was writing like a lot of lines of code. So I was like, man, I used to write code. I don't think I ever wrote this much code. So I asked, how much time would this have taken in man hours if it was a human writing all this code? At first, it told me like 4 years. I was like, oh my God. So I did 4 years of work in 2 days. And then I started researching. They were like, well, the AIs, they write a lot of extra code that you might not do as a human. So I said, okay, what would you like say it is then? And they were like, they would say it's about 50%. So I was like, okay, so still, you just did 2 years work in 2 days. And it was like pretty much of human work. So think about that, right? Like at the end of the day, if every month, every few days, I'm doing 2 years of work and you are not at all doing anything other than your human work, it's no way to compete. Every couple days, years of work, it's just hard to compete with that. So what I'm saying now is this stuff is free. You can go on ChatGPT, on Claude right now and say, teach me how to make an agent. That's what I did. Literally is what I did. I went and I've been doing it for a long time. Again, Stack is an AI agent. It's been around for years. This is when ChatGPT first came out. And I was like, oh, AI's here. Let me ask it to help me make money. Make me an agent that makes money. Literally the conversation started that way. Make me an agent that makes money. And then it gave me all the options. Trading bot, arbitrage bot, all these different things. And I'm like, I don't really like any of these, but I did like the treasury, right? So I said, all right, I want to build that. I think that makes sense for me, my family. Worst case scenario, I can't get anybody else to use it. I'll use it for myself. So I did. The content, I said the same thing. Can you do this? I need to make videos educating the public on the problem we solve because most people do not understand the financial concepts that are the reason this app exists. Yes, here's how we start. Boop, 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 boop. And when I say 2 days, I mean all day, right? Like I am like on a computer most of my day. No matter where I'm at, I'm on a computer or a phone. So I am able to say, do this, see what it does. It takes a few minutes. Press it again. People who are not on a computer all day, yes, it's not going to be as fast as me. Also, I have a background in technology, so sometimes it says something that I know is wrong or I know there's a better way. So I'll give you an example on that. Last week, my dad calls me about a book. He wants to write a book. He's always wanted to write a book. And I told him, I've been telling him about OpenClaw. He's like, can I set up OpenClaw for my book? And I said, I don't know if it makes sense because right now to do it, you either have to run it on a virtual private server, which is a lot harder to do, or you have to buy a computer because my dad don't have a computer. He has one, but it's not great. So it doesn't make sense to spend the money, but let me do some research. So I asked ChatGPT, Claude. They came back with plans, but the average plan was going to cost me about $200 a month to run. And I knew better. I was like, wait a minute, why? And it broke it all down to me. And yes, if you were a person that didn't know tech, you would have done that. You would have said, okay, yeah, do that. But I was able to say, wait a minute, I know you could do it this way. What about this? And it said, you know what, you're right. And then now it basically, I run this agent using the same $300 that I run all my agents with. But again, that's my benefit of being in tech for so long. And again, this is the type of stuff that if you join my community, I'll help you think that stuff through. I have people in there thinking through their employees, and I'm telling them, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Don't do it this way, do it that way. So you can see that live. I record them. I put them up on YouTube as well. Sometimes I don't because sometimes it gets a little bit too proprietary, so I don't put it public. But if you're there when we're live, you can see and hear. So the book agent was one that came up just this week. But before that, I was thinking, okay, what what is it that an AI agent is not going to be able to do? So I started asking ChatGPT and just thinking myself, I'm not just a full AI, only. And I said, what can't an AI do? And I thought, you can't right now go and say, hey, ChatGPT, get me 1,000 customers. So that's where I thought, everybody now can make anything, but getting customers is still hard. So I said, what if I try to figure out how I can have an agent that helps you get customers? So I going back and forth with ChatGPT and Claude Code. And I have another one that actually most people don't have access to this one, which is Alex Hermosi's AI. I paid a good amount of money last year for that, and I get to talk to that one too. He's very good at business. His AI is better at business than Claude and ChatGPT, actually. So that's a little bit of a cheat code that I do have. And of course, if you're part of my community, I let people use it. I let them ask questions through it. So I asked all three, and what came back was cold email and cold calling is about to be a wrap. Why? Take a wild guess. Now we all can have an AI emailing and calling people all day long. So what is that going to do? People are not going to want to pick up their phones and check their emails. It's going to be just like millions of emails from people trying to sell them. And if you've been in business long enough, that's probably already your email. Mine is like that, and I can't even open my email address. But what am I doing? This is a risky one, so I wouldn't start here. I'm going to have my AI agent read my email and just tell me the ones that are important. And say, hey, you got an email from X. He's asking for this by this day. Okay. So I don't even have to open my email. That's my plan. I haven't built that one yet, but that's like the assistant, which is where I think I would start. If I was a person that was starting right now and I'm like, okay, I have a job. I have a business. I'm not really techie. I'm an investor, but I'm not really techie. I would start by saying, okay, let's make the best assistant that will help me leverage more of whatever it is that I do well or I want to do well. So for me, I've started with make money, make more money, content, connections. So that what ended up happening, just to finish that loop, is I created an AI agent called needsmatch.ai that people answer a few questions and the AI matches them. But it's kind of like a dating app where they only match if both want to match and meet. Because again, if you're getting bombed with, oh, this person is selling you this person selling you that, if there's an AI agent that you can just say, just show me the ones that I should be meeting with, I think that's going to be valuable. So I'm building it. I'm building it for myself. Again, there's another trick. Build things for you before you try to make them products. So every product I told you about, I'm building for myself. And I don't care if other people use it. When I built Stack at first, it was just on my computer. And nobody else could use it. And then I was telling people about it. And people were like, can I use that? And I'm like, it's kind of not built for that. And actually, most of the agents I started out doing, I just built for myself. Like the content agent, the CMO agent. These are just for myself. But for Stack, I had to create all kind of things to let other people use it. And that's the true cost. And that's why you got to charge for products, because there's a cost to helping more people. It's like literally more hosting, more everything costs, right? Human beings, you need more people to help you. Everything grows in cost when you start expanding how many people you're helping. When it's just you and you're just managing stuff for yourself, it's cool. You don't need, all you need is your API credits. So what NeedsMatch does is every night it looks at through everybody who's submitted and it says these two people make sense to connect. I'll send them an email. Right now it's an email. So yes, eventually that may be bombed as well in your email. But again, if your AI agent, just like I told you, tells you, hey, Miguel, I have somebody you should meet. Press here and I'll set up the meeting. That's different than going through email, right? And yes, email, you're going to probably be able to do this through your email as well, and people are going to be just bombarding you with stuff. So it might be, I just thought about it, may not make sense one day to use NeedsMatch. The real difference, though, is what NeedsMatch does is it connects networks. So, for instance, I'm making it so anyone in my community can connect with anyone in my community for free. So if you go to needsmatch.ai/MSW, I think I set that up, or I'll set it up before the next video. Needsmatch.ai/MSW. What that's going to do is, if you join through there, you can connect with anybody else that joined through there for free. Because eventually, this is going to cost me money. And when it does, I got to make sure it pays for itself. So there's going to be a cost to connect. I'll figure all that out later. Right now, it's free. If you join, you get 10 free connections and 1 free a month. And again, I'm thinking business models. But at first, I'm like, I'll give it away free until it starts costing me money. And again, this is why it's the best time in history to make a business. Guess how much NeedsMatch cost me to build? Yes, I have the API credits I pay monthly for. Back then, I was paying $200 each, so that's $400. I did that one also in a couple of days. But let's say you take the full month, and just for that, $400. The domain name, $18. No, actually, .ai domains are expensive. I paid probably like $60, $70 for the domain. NeedsMatch.ai. Hosting, free until 1 million views on Vercel. So that don't cost me nothing until we get to 1 million views. What else? The hosting. Oh, API credits. So you can't do everything all the time with the API credits that you have paid for. So I'm paying Anthropic for API calls to do certain things on that product. So far, NeedsMatch has been live for over a month, and I've paid $20 in API credits. So let's add all of that up. But really, I'll take just those two numbers, the domain and the API credits. $40. Oh, no, sorry. 70, let's say 80, $100 it cost me to build that. And let's say if I take the 400 and I take 2 days of the month out of 30, it really cost me less than $200 to create an entire company. Literally just talking back and forth to AI. That's where we are. And you know, if you don't understand and play around with this stuff, I don't know what to tell you, but except do it immediately. And again, you could check out all of the things I'm talking about that I built, but it starts out with you figuring out what you need help with. Because you can set up, this is another problem I see. There's people setting up Claude, OpenClaw, but they don't really know what to do with it. Like, why are they setting it up? So it's hard to benefit if you're setting this up and you're like, I don't know what to do with it after it's made. You should know that before you set it up. You shouldn't go out and buy a computer, people buying Mac Minis, and then they don't know what to do with it. They don't have a business. They don't have a thing that they know can help them. So for me, that's my start. Like I told you, I started out, I want something that makes me more money. That's how Stack was created. I want something that helps me educate more people on the problem Stack solves. That's how Navo was created. That's the name of that one. Then I thought, okay, how am I going to get more customers for Stack and any other idea I have? So it's either you create organic content, pay advertising, or get referrals, right? So NeedsMatch was the referral platform that I built for myself and others. So now I got the organic content creation with Navo. I got the referral network with NeedsMatch. And then my dad reaches out about a book. And I'm like, you know what? That's something that I've always wanted to do. I've actually paid for courses to write a book, and I never did it. Why don't I try to figure that out? So I did, right? I basically made an agent that every night listens to the voice notes, analyzes an editor, a producer. They all have different skill sets. They analyze, and then they give me new questions for the next day. And I answer those questions, and eventually by doing that, it's going to be a book. And you could build this yourself. Everybody could build anything I just said. The big question is, if you look at my last 2 months, how many things I've made, I would have never been able to make all these things. So I'm going to give you an example. It took Stack about a month to go live in my own computer. Then about another month for it to be usable by other people. So by February of that year, I started like in January. By February of that year, it was live to the market. And that was fast. You know, most people takes them months, years to create their ideas. Stack was up pretty quick. Now we're talking about Navo took 2 days. Knees Match took 2 days. The book app took 1 day. The book agent took 1 day. Partly is because I'm getting better, faster at doing these things. So it's squeezing the time. Yesterday, day before yesterday, I thought, okay, agents are going to be the main customer. I need to redo my entire website to talk to agents. So, 1 day. I redid my entire website to talk to agents in 1 day. Didn't post it yet because I'm making 1,000% sure that the website I've had up for 3 years, I don't turn something, that I need off by mistake. So I have to go through a process to make sure before I move that over, it works and I don't break something. But the process to make a website that literally is like 10 times more impressive than the website I had 3 years ago took 1 day. And this is what I mean. Like, because so I got an agent doing that. I got an agent doing all the other things I'm telling you. So I got like 6 agents going all day, every day. But I know how to manage this now because 2 months ago, I started spending the time. So now, if you started today, you're not just going to jump to be able to manage 6, 7 agents that work 24/7. It's going to take you time. So the sooner you start, the better. I highly suggest you, 1, join our free community. 2, go to ChatGPT, just start asking it questions. Teach me about agents. I'm really interested in this, or I see this problem in society. I want to fix this. I want to fix that. How would you help me make an agent? This is all I've done. I'm not like some super genius that knew a lot. I just spoke to the AI and said, I want an AI that makes me money. What are my options? And recently, I told you, I asked, okay, I'm getting worried. This stuff is getting too good. Even me, I feel like I'm going to be obsolete one day soon. What are the businesses that are most safe from AI? And that's how I got to electricians. And again, of course, there was a list, and I was like, I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to do that. I think electrician makes sense. I have a Tesla. I know that electric cars are going to get bigger. There's going to be more need for electric when AI comes along, and there's data centers and robots that need to be charged. So I'm like, that makes sense. Let me spend time understanding that world and possibly buying an electrician company. Again, going back and forth with AI and saying, okay, what do I do? Another one, I'll tell you another one that I've had a bunch of people doing. I'm doing it myself too. I ask it, based on everything you know about me, how can I make 10K extra a month right now? What would you do? 10K right now. I want to make 10K extra a month as fast as possible. What would you do? Of course, it has history on me because I've been talking to this thing for 3 years. So again, if you don't talk to it and it doesn't understand who you are, again, you're losing. So I got 3 years of data in this thing, and it knows, okay, Miguel does X, Y, Z. Here's what you should do. So to be honest, The question, I mean, the course came from all of those AIs. I told it, okay, I want to make an extra 10K a month. What should I do? It told me, you should make a course teaching what you've done with AI. Most people have no clue about what's going on with this stuff. You've made multiple AI employees. Why don't you teach people how to make AI employees? So here's what it told me, and I'm going to give you the full thing. It said, first, start out with a cheap course that doesn't take a lot for a person to decide they could buy. Then you create the next level upsell, which is, and I'll give you all the information because I'm telling you, once you go in and you do it, information is free now. It's more about community and access, right? So it said, sell a course for $200. Then those people in the course, you can say, if you want help making your agent, we can do that for you. That's going to be, of course, a higher cost, right? We can help you build your agent, and then you build your first employee. You go from there. Then the next level up. So this is how business works, and this is when you talk to these, especially the Hormozi agent. He's really good. He says, start with the 200 plan. Make the building of agents at a zero each time. So building of agent, I'll build your agent. It could be starting at $2,000. So 200 to 2,000, right? Then it was like you can create agents and manage them for people for $20,000 a year starting. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. And of course, it makes sense, right? If imagine you have an employee that you're paying normal wages to, and it's messed up to say, but people are going to do it. You could replace that employee for $20K a year, and they're working 24/7, 365. It's going to be hard not to do that. And the higher level the employee, the more it makes sense. So if you're paying a person $30K, $20K may not make sense until you realize it's 24/7, right? Then, if you're paying somebody $50K, it starts making more sense. You're paying somebody $75K, makes more sense. $100K makes a lot more sense. This is where society's going. If your job can be done in front of a computer, if your business can be done in front of a computer, it's just a matter of time. You just gotta play with this stuff. Make something. And I tell you, start with an assistant. Start with an assistant. Say, okay, I am in this business type. I do this. Or let's say you're not a business owner yet. You're still an employee. All right, I want to create a side hustle. What should I create for my side hustle? Talk to it. Don't use it like a search engine. Use it as a thought partner. Say, I want to create a side hustle. What should I do? It's going to ask you questions if it doesn't have history on your background. Like if you're using ChatGPT and you've been paying for it for a while, it starts to have history on you. If you're using Claude, all of them do that. Start there. If you want to create a side hustle, I just told you. I was like, I want to make a side hustle that makes me $10K a month. And it said, make a course, add it to your community, have upsells. And I'm already, and then guess what I did? I said, okay, so how would I sell this? Yeah, I'm going to give you the full plan. I said, okay, so how would you do this? Because right now, I just talk about Stack mostly, only because Stack is the business that makes me money. And it said, okay, I know your thing is about leverage. Stack is leverage, right? Leveraging your assets. Combine it. Say now you help entrepreneurs and investors leverage technology. So what is Stack? Leveraging money. This is helping you leverage technology with AI, right? And I made an AI agent that helps you leverage media with Navo. So it said, that is your thing now. You help people leverage with media, technology, and finance. I was like, I love it. Let's go. And then it said, okay, so now when you're making content, you need to call out, speak about the things you're making, and draw in customers, potential customers. Make a landing page. Go to the link is in the description. And if people want to buy it, they buy it. You have a free community as well. They can go into that free community. Link is in the description. And they're in your ecosystem. And if they want to stack or they want to become customers, they can. But at least you're working with them once a week at the 7 o'clock call. And it's not adding much to your plate because you already do all those things. You create content already. You already have the free community. All you're doing is adding this one extra thing, which is a course that is not going to take a lot of your time. You can build it one time, have it there. People buy it, they get access to it. And then it has all the upsells. If they want to talk to you and they want to buy the next level, they can. All that through AI. And it even made me the website in like 5 minutes. Like literally, I was like, okay, what would you put on this website? Okay, can you make the first version of the HTML of this website? I looked at it. I said, all right, I like that. But can you change this, and that? Did it. Then it was like, okay, all you got to do is sign up for Stripe. I already had a Stripe account. It's like, okay, give me this information from their Stripe account. Done. Now there's a button. Somebody can pay $200 right away. So then I said, okay, but then how do I combine it with the community? I asked Hormozi because Hormozi owns the community platform that I use called School. He was like, make them pay through Stripe, create a Zapier where their email becomes an automatic person who has access to the community and the course. I was like, perfect. How do I do that? This is the steps. Literally, now we're in this age of doers and don'ters. We always were there since Google started. You could Google anything, learn how to do anything. Most people just didn't. Now it's way easier. All you have to do is say, what should I do? Can you do it for me? Thank you. That's it. You know, and of course, it's not going to happen instantly. The scary part is getting faster and faster. And eventually it might get to the point where you're like, I want this. It exists. And now I don't know if any of us have a differential advantage to get paid for. I don't know. I don't know what happens in that society. I don't think the government is moving fast enough on this because I'm in the 1% of people who do this, right? Lower. Like most people play around with ChatGPT, but even ChatGPT, I think it's like not even 4% of the world use ChatGPT at all. And probably 1% of those people are actually making AI agents. OpenClaw is going along, but it's not, it's not known by many people. Not everybody's doing it yet. A lot of people are, but not everybody. So when you look up and you say, okay, where does all this go? I'm acting like if by next year, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm going to do everything I can right now using this technology, using the speed I've developed with it to do as much as I can. So that's why I'm going live every day at 7 p.m. That's another thing. I said it yesterday on yesterday's live. I'm also doing things that I know most people won't do. Most people are not going to go live every day. I'll go live every day for an hour. I'm home. I'm not a party animal. I could do it. Some days, I may have something and I can't do it. But my plan is to go live every single day, 7 p.m. Eastern. My plan is to write a book. My plan is to make a course. I already have AI agent products. I'm going to start doing public speaking again. I'm doing everything I can to try to take advantage of this next, however long we have before the AI takes what we do. And to be honest, I could already create content without me in the video. I just don't do it with my face yet. But if you follow me and you've seen videos where you hear a voiceover and you see images, that's not me. That's my content agent making content for me using my voice. And I could put my face and body in there talking, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell yet. It just costs more money per video. So I'm like, should I spend on that till it gets really good? I don't know. But I'm playing around with it. Trust me, I am going to. I'm gonna see what those videos do, and I'm gonna probably do one of those a day, and see how those turn out. Because they cost, like when you put yourself in the video, it could cost an extra take a wild guess. How much extra per video do you think it'll cost to put me as a video avatar? 50 cents. That's crazy, right? So it's like, do I really want to spend $1 a video, 60 cents a video? Let's say, like 70, 80 cents a video. That's crazy that I even think that. I'm like, a few years ago, it was like $30, $50 a video. And of course, you could do it yourself, but still time. Your time is valuable, right? If you take your time and you say, how much do I charge per hour if somebody hired me? Let's say you save 50, 60, 70, 100, whatever, 200. Then that's $200. So it's like, should an AI do this for $1 when I charge 200, 50, 75, whatever I charge? That's how you got to think about it. What are the things your AI assistant employee can do that you charge money for and you don't really want to do? Not to say I don't want to do content. I actually enjoy the content experience. I like creating that. The hard part is being consistent, right? Like I got videos that I've shot that I haven't edited. So now I'm like, I need to create an AI editor. So I'm working on that. I haven't put that one out yet, but it's one of the agents working. This stuff is just, what can you imagine? What can you do? My ultimate goal is to have a media and technology factory. Something that's making content with me in it. Something that's making movies that I've always wanted to make. If you don't know me, I started out my career as an animator. I wanted to make movies and animation, but that world was very hard to get into. And if you wanted to make a movie, you had to get somebody to give you millions of dollars. Now you just need an AI plan. $50, $60 a month, you can make a movie. This is crazy stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of that too. I got movie ideas. I got TV series ideas. And think about it as a rational, non-ADHD person. There's people that do what I'm saying. There's people that are owners of many different companies. Why? Because they're not doing the work. They hire people to manage those people. So they'll have a person who's like, oh, this person has a movie company, a technology company, but they got CEOs in those companies running those companies. They got high-level employees in all those companies. We can do the same thing now. I can have an entire team running each one of these businesses, and I just direct the top person, and they do all the work. It's not totally there yet for everything. Like I wouldn't trust that with Stack yet, because Stack is a money platform and is smart contracts and all that. So that one we got humans for. But everything else, I'm building an AI team to run those. Like I don't need humans for that. Not that I can see. Eventually, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But I don't really see anything I need a human for in any of those businesses. And that's the scary part. Could create businesses that don't need now any human beings other than you. And even you will be a bottleneck eventually. So that's where we are. If you want help creating your first AI employee, join my free community or join my course. If you want to learn how to take advantage of owning Bitcoin and Ethereum without selling it, there's a link to show you how to borrow off your Bitcoin and Ethereum without being liquidated, which is Stack, stackit.ai. If you want to connect with anybody in this community, anybody you see here that's on with us or watches later, any of the views you see, go to needsmatch.ai/MSW. I think that's it for now. Let's see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.